All right, folks, welcome to the Ed Boston Podcast from the Ed Boston Podcast Network. And got to do things a little bit differently tonight. I am using my website, Spreaker website application instead of either my phone or my web app. So forgive me for the little bit of a delay, and being as this is the first time that that I've used this actual format, I'll do my very best to keep things rolling, and well, we'll just see what we can do here tonight. Titled the podcast for tonight, "The World as I See It." And there's a lot of things going on in the world, but I would be remiss not to open with prayer and tell you a little bit about what's going on with the new church, our own personal lives, and so on. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, I thank you for this day that you've given us. I thank you for the blessings in life that are so abundant. I thank you for being able to do this show, and even if there's a glitch here or a glitch there, Father, I know that you're right here with me, helping me get through each and every part of what it is I'm doing. Father, I pray that you would help the cough tonight to stay away, that you would help the voice to sound as clear as is possible, and just help things to work in a way they need to work tonight. Thank you for hearing my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, well, I turned the microphone down a little bit through the switchboard here, so I hope that took care of if I was blowing your eardrums out. I certainly didn't mean to. Again, it take a little bit of getting used to this new, but it excites me to have to use this because it's a great backup. In the past, if there would have, when I used that other company that shall remain nameless, if there would have been a problem, we'd have just been out of the water. This way, I've got actually two backups. I've got a computer backup, and I've got a phone backup. And so it actually, like I said, it excites me to be able to use this. I probably should have just at some point just planned on using this so that I could be ready to use it in a time where such as this. And so let me welcome you again. And this is Ed from the Ed Boston Podcast. If it doesn't sound like me, unfortunately, have had happen what is happening to many people in this area. They get sick, they get well, and then they recatch what it is that they had already. It seems to be throat issues. And then there are some people that have, I know of two people in particular that have had sinus, throat, those type issues for going on a couple of months now. So I don't know what's going on with the illness here in central Indiana, but Amy won't be with us tonight. I would have to translate for her. Her voice is so bad. Let's see if I got lower yet. And hopefully, again, I'm not blowing you out of the of listening. Back to Amy. I'm kind of concerned about her. She, I believe, is on the verge of pneumonia, and she's highly susceptible because she's had it several times in her life. And so I'm concerned about her and her illness more so than I am with what's going on with me. I actually felt better during the day. I just have this pesky old cough. And thank you for bearing with us while we try to take care of the technical issues. And let's talk about the church a little bit. Step one of getting into the Good Shepherd Worship Center is actually getting ourselves into the residence part, and we are in the process of doing that right now. We've had to have a shower installed. That is coming down to being done here in the next day or two. We have some of our furniture being delivered tomorrow. Some of it I was able to take out tonight, more in the morning. So we are planning on tomorrow night being the first night of actually sleeping at the center. Once we get in and are into the residence, then the planning starts for what needs to take place to get the church itself ready for mid-February mid-February opening of the first service. And I'm so excited because we've had so many people say they want to be a part of that first service. And I know that a huge percentage of those people will come just to the first service because they have other churches they belong to and things like that. But I'm just really, really, really excited about what's going to take place. And we should have sometime in the first week of January an announcement on when the first service will take place. I know a lot of people have been asking us about that, and we want to get that announced and have it out, well in advance of a month of the actual opening of the church. We still need lots of prayer. We'll be announcing some things that we need help with, as in things that we could use in the church that maybe other churches have that they've got extra of, financial assistance that we need, prayer support, just a lot of things that we're going to be sharing with you over the course of the next couple of weeks as we prepare, looking forward to having other people prepare with us. And so that's kind of where we stand with that. It has been a little on the difficult side to get everything worked in. And unfortunately, the thing that has suffered the most in all of this busyness of the Christmas season, finishing up my work at the Veterans Office, moving, painting, cleaning carpets, and all of that stuff, has been my show prep, and for that I humbly and sincerely apologize, because we try to bring you the very best podcast that we can, and without the proper show prep, that is definitely lacking, and that's not what we're about. If I had a way to try to get a little bit more hours in today, I'd become a very, very wealthy man and figure out how to do that. But just know that we're doing the very best that we can, and we've got a lot going on, even business-wise, here with the Ed Boston Podcast Network. We've got movies to screen. The Masked Saint is coming up here January the 8th. We've got several different things that we need to cover, and we're going to cover. We've got a lot of entertainment things going on, some new things with that, some things that we hope will come through. We've got the new wrestling podcast that'll start this Saturday, and I'll be back in the saddle with good friend Vanessa. And I gotta admit, Vanessa and I work very well together, and I believe that you'll, if you're a wrestling fan, will enjoy if you didn't used to listen to us when we were Do the Right Thing DTRT Wrestling, then you need to check us out, because we have a good time with wrestling. The show is going to be called The Wrestling Breakdown with Ed and Vanessa, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, both. You can actually send us questions that we may try to answer during the course of the show, which I believe would be a very cool thing. I've noticed others do that, and so I was looking for a specific article about the Satanic Church that we've covered in the past, and I have it here somewhere, and I'll find it. The wrestling podcast will kind of have its own identity. It'll still be part of the Ed Boston podcast network, but we will have a sponsor, and that'll be Wrestling News Blog. They'll be our official sponsor. That is where we get our wrestling news. But looking forward to being back in the wrestling groove. We did that for numerous months. I did it solo for a long time, did it with Vanessa for a long time, and I'm ready to get back in the saddle again with that. We'll continue to do sports talk. It'll be basically what it's been in the past, except it will be no wrestling. We'll save all of that for the wrestling podcast. So what's going on in the world? And I've been spending some time with my cousin. He's doing some of the work at the worship center for us. We have talked about the world in general. We have talked about I'll tell you later. We've talked about politics and what's going on in the world there, and my darling wife just walked into the room, and I told you already that she probably won't be doing any talking, because if she does, I'll have to translate for her.
Well, that's a fact.
See, you heard 2 of the 3 words she said, I think. Yeah. We're like a walking mash unit here. I'm trying to suck on a cough drop and keep some lemonade down, and
I think we're just dying.
Well, I've already told him you worry me about having pneumonia, and we don't want that.
No, we don't.
But back to what's going on in the world. You know, I'm having a real hard time getting excited about politics. If I was going to make an endorsement, and at this point I'm not, and I may not, period, I don't have anybody to endorse. I like some things about several different ones, but to me right now, nobody stands out as being what I call presidential. Presidential in that you have confidence in them that if the you-know-what hits the fan...
The what?
The you-know-what.
The you-know-what?
Hits the fan, that when they get in front of the camera in the Oval Office and they come to the American people, that they are going to make you feel confident that everything is going to be all right and that they're in control. Some of you might say, well, Donald Trump would fit that bill, and I would tend to agree somewhat, but I also think he's a loose cannon, and that he is somewhat unpredictable. He's not a conservative. He has some conservative tendencies, but he is not a conservative. I question where he would stand on some of the core values that I have. I know he's trying to say the right things to reach out to the evangelical Christian base, but this says almost everything to me when Franklin Graham decides to resign from being a member of the Republican Party and becomes just an independent. It says something about the Republican Party in general. Now, I'm not saying it says something about the individual candidates for president, because the final straw for Franklin Graham was this budget bill that they passed last week. And we have a brand new Speaker of the House, and it's just business as usual. They got it a day or two before it was voted on. You know, a couple of, I don't remember the page amount, probably a couple of thousand pages, knowing that nobody could read all of that in that period of time. Planned Parenthood funding stayed in, and Franklin Graham just basically said, that's the final straw. If the Republicans with a majority in the House and the Senate cannot at least send it to the president to make him have to veto the bill, then what good is it to have the Republicans in charge in both of the seats of Congress? And I agree. As a matter of fact, it's been a long while back that I said that I no longer identified with the Republican Party. I don't know that I said I'm an independent. I'm just a person that wishes there was a party out there that met my needs. And there is not at this point in time. I would definitely say that I lean more to the Republican Party than the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is certainly crazy liberal for the most part. But You've heard me say this dozens of times probably. If you throw all 535 of them into a 55-gallon barrel, and I know that's not possible, and you reach in and you pull one out, you can't tell the difference between a Republican and a Democrat, because they act the same, they do the same, and there is nothing that I identify with. And I think that's where Franklin Graham is. They won't do the will of the people that voted for them. They talk a good game, and they say they're going to do this and they say they're going to do that, and what it boils down to is it's just more of the same, and the elite in Washington, D.C. Have no desire to do the will of the people. So, presidential politics, I mean, there's crazy stuff going on with Trump and Hillary. Trump said something that Hillary is trying to make him look as if he is a sexist. When your husband's name is William Jefferson Clinton, the last thing I think you would want to do would be worry about somebody being a sexist, because he's got a long list of things in his past that do not look good. Now, on the other hand, I also heard today, as I was driving down the road, an audio clip that said it was from 2008, and it was basically Trump talking, bad-mouthing George W. Bush, saying that he should have been impeached because of the Iraq War, and because he says that George Bush lied to get us in the Iraq War, and then he brought up that Clinton they tried to impeach him. They actually did impeach him, by the way. They just didn't remove him from office. And the Donald was not too terribly upset back in 2008 about the status of Bill Clinton, and he basically said it was a nothing. Now, I know that the situation is different here in that now he is being attacked as a sexist, and it's not the first time that has been heard. And there's been things that's happened on reality shows and things like that he's been in where he has been talked about as being sexist. But see what I'm saying? Crazy stuff that has nothing to do with the good of our country. It's like if you could take a little piece of Carson and a little piece of Cruz, a little piece of Trump and a little piece of Rubio and put them all together, then you might have someone that kind of, sort of represents who I would like to see. And then there's others that's got good points as well. Kasich knows something about balancing a budget. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. I mean, he toots his own horn plenty, but he does know how to do that. He's got zero chance of winning the nomination, but he does know how to do that. I believe that Mike Huckabee is a very moral and gifted Christian leader, just not presidential material. And so politics, just, we're down to, Iowa is going to take place here and not that far off, and I'm not even excited about where it's going to go. We need some people to drop out of the race. There's still way too many. And well, and then there's a lot of people that thinks that no matter what happens, Hillary's going to win because people worship her. I heard today again when I was driving, 14 years in a row that she has been voted the most respected woman in America.
Oh my.
14 years in a row. I'm not sure what she's respected for.
Not killing her husband.
Okay, well, maybe that was it. Because one of the very first things that happened when her husband took over in the White House was she became the health care guru. If you remember, we almost had Hillary Care instead of Obamacare. However, in the midst of doing all that, Hillary admitted she knew nothing about health care. And fortunately, that didn't take place during her watch. So we know she didn't get her respect from that. Her time as a senator, well, I mean, she went and ran in a state where she wasn't even from. And so I can't think of anything. Well, the show I was listening to today, the one guy asked the other guy, what would you say was a success for Obama in 2015? Well, the guy couldn't. He said, "You're going to give me some time to think about that." That's how I feel about why anybody would respect Hillary. You're going to have to give me some time to think about that, because she was terrible as Secretary of State. I'll give you one word. I bet you can guess what it is that defines her role as Secretary of State, and that would be Benghazi. And the more we find out about that, the more pathetic it is that she performed. And and so maybe the only thing that there is to have respected her for is that she didn't kill her husband, like you said earlier, when he people just think that there is the Monica Lewinsky story, but before that there was the Jennifer Flowers story, and in between there was the Paula Jones story, and the list could go on and on and on. Of course, there was Whitewater and all those other controversies, and you can't make me believe that if Bill was involved in a controversy, that Hillary wasn't up to her neck in it too. Now, she may not have been involved in the womanizing parts, but I have a feeling that she knew that was the case and continued to support her man and support her man and support her man time and time again. And there's the Democrat side. Bernie Sanders ain't got a chance to beat her. And he's ultra-liberal as well. He might be a nicer person than she is, but I mean he's a crusty old fart. I forget how old he is. He'd be 900 by the time he got elected, and if he served 2 terms. Can you say that on my show? Crusty old fart?
Crusty old fart? I don't know.
I just did, so...
Twice?
It's my show.
It is your show.
It's our show, but you won't stop me, will you?
Nope. You said it twice.
I said it twice?
You did.
Well, I want to go over to this Satanic Temple story.
Oh my!
We've gone through it before, but this is new. Just in time for Christmas, the Satanic Temple of Detroit held a satanic ceremony on the steps of the state capitol in Lansing, Michigan on December 19th, 2015. Members dressed in black held black and white American flags. I'm sorry, but that would not be an American flag. If it's black and white, it's not an American flag.
Absolutely.
Even if it had 50 stripes 50 stars and 13 stripes, it would not be an American flag. The group has posted a video of the event on YouTube, and the transcript can be found online as well. The speech began with, "Hail comrades, hail sisters and brothers, hail Satan." Now, again, this was on the courthouse steps. Not the courthouse, but the State House, I'm sorry, the Capitol in Lansing, Michigan. While some argued this constitutes freedom of speech and religion, others argued it is a sign that America is literally going to hell. And I think I've said that on here before. America is going to hell.
In a very quick fashion.
You can check out the Satanic Temple performs the nation's first state-sponsored or state-sanctioned ceremony. And here's my question. If you and I went to the state capitol and had a Christian church service on the steps, you think that there would be at least one lawsuit that would get filed trying to get us stopped?
Oh, at least one. I would venture to say it would never take place because we wouldn't be allowed to.
And it wouldn't be because of the will of the people. The will of the people would be that would be all right. Now, again, we've talked about this satanic cult, church.
No.
Well, that's what they want to be. And I'm telling you that God does not play around with things like that. God is a jealous God. He wants all, or he wants it all, or it equals nothing. I hope that makes sense. He wants, in your individual life, he wants you all the way. And if he doesn't have you all the way, well, some of the harshest language that is used in the Bible is about people who are lukewarm. And that's where I see Christians so much today, lukewarm. Because, well, what can we do about this satanic temple? I'm telling you, folks, we got to quit as Christians being blah and lazy and using the attitude that there's nothing that we can do about these things. It's the same as, and I'll segue into, it's the same as dealing with ISIS and dealing with Islam in general. Well, there's not much we can do about it. They're here, and there is something we can do about it. We have to quit cowering as a nation to a handful that just keeps growing and growing and growing. But we've got to quit worrying about people who say that, well, you're just mean-spirited. You're bigots. You're prejudiced against Muslims. Excuse me. These are people that want to kill you and me. Oh, no, not all of them. Well, okay. You tell me which ones want to kill me and which ones don't want to kill me. And here's the deal. My life depends on you telling me which ones are which. Guess what? I ain't giving you that chance, because I don't trust you. They want you dead. The good ones aren't doing enough to stop the bad ones. If they were really worried about the bad ones, they'd be going to war against them. Guarantee you, when Christians screw up and misbehave, it's Christians that jump down their throats first. When the guy went into the church in South Carolina, did you hear one Christian say anything positive about the person? I didn't. I didn't hear it, and I didn't say anything positive about the person. He deserves everything that he gets. And you see, there's an ongoing theme tonight, and unfortunately it's a negative theme, is that the world is going to hell. Now, there is a solution, and the easy answer is that the solution is Jesus Christ. That's a simple answer. But there's another answer that goes with that, is Jesus is the answer, and you're the body. The song, I want to be your hands, I want to be your feet, talking about being the body of Christ. We all have a role that we have to play. And there's going to come a time where we may have to pick up arms and say, enough is enough. You're not going to continue to kill good Christian men and women. Oh man, you're going out there now, preacher. I'm not advocating violence, and I'm not advocating doing things that you shouldn't do. But if our government will not protect us, are we just going to sit there and be sitting targets? I mean, think about Chattanooga. Military institution, unarmed people were nothing more than setting targets. Mm-hmm. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to concede that that's what God wants us to do. That's what people want to try to make you feel like. God wouldn't want you to take up arms. Well, I think God blessed our country pretty well when we took up arms against the British. I think God has blessed us during and after World War II. We took up an arm or two then.
Yep.
And I know that there are people that have a real issue with guns. I'm not talking about gun control, but the use of guns. That they just wouldn't do that themselves. And that's okay. There are some people that shouldn't try to use guns.
Right.
And if you're that bothered by them, then you're probably one of the ones that shouldn't. But you can support people who aren't afraid of them. And you can take and help encourage those people, encourage people who are willing to carry, encourage people who are out there on the front lines fighting against the anti-gun people. I don't even know what to call them. Nutcases.
Liberal pukes.
There you go. Liberal pukes. I got a new shotgun for Christmas. Actually, I got it a month or two before Christmas, but it was my big Christmas present. And it is a pump, and I was showing it to my cousin today, and I made that pump sound, and he said what we always say: you don't even have to load it. When somebody hears that, that's all that they're gone. And
I love it.
And see what bad guys want to be the ones that think they have the power. They want to be the ones who intimidate. They want to be the ones who dictate to others how things are going to be. And when people stand up to them, it's no different than the bully situation that has been on throughout life. If you want to get a bully off your back, punch him in the nose and make him bleed. I guarantee you he don't come back. And if he does, he's bringing a whole bunch more people with him because he's a coward. And so, one of these times, and it's just a matter of time before we have another attack from a Muslim or a group of Muslims against others. There's going to be a time where when they attack, somebody's going to be carrying, and somebody's going to stop that attack. And then they got to start figuring out, how do we deal with this? Now, that doesn't mean it'll put a stop to it, but right now, it's like open season on Americans. We'll go into a Christmas party and just blow a bunch of people away. They're easy targets. Back to the fish in the 55-gallon drum. You know, you just start shooting in there and they ain't going anywhere. So, the answer is Jesus in the short answer, and the larger answer is that you are part of what Jesus will use to win. You are part. And if you're not willing to be used, that makes you a lukewarm Christian. And actually what the Bible says about that would be, I would rather vomit you out than to put up with you being a lukewarm Christian. That's the Ed version of that. You don't see, there is no such thing as a lukewarm Christian. It doesn't happen. If all you do is say you're a Christian and not willing to stand up for your values, if you're not willing to stand up for Christ, if you're not willing to proclaim that there is only one way to heaven, then you're lukewarm. And if you're lukewarm, you're not in. You know, don't take this wrong, as in gambling is right, but be all in. Bet it all. Bet it all on God. Bet it all on Jesus Christ. When I say bet it all, bet your life. Bet everything that you have. That being that being all in for Christ is the way that things need to be. I want to see if I've got a song here. And I've got some songs here. And I think Trevor, if you play something, let me know. Actually, I'll put my headsets back on and then I will hear, I would assume. So we finished up an hour, even though we got a little bit of a late start. We've got satanic temples. We've got presidential contenders that have no idea what the will of the people is. We've got Christians who are lukewarm, and well, we've got more coming here on the Ed Boston podcast. Let me look at something. Let's well, sorry for the quiet spell there. I'm trying to get my cough drop to cooperate with me, to let me talk and use the cough drop at the same time, and it wasn't cooperating very well. Don't you hate that when things don't cooperate with you?
Yes, honey.
Do you what question was I going to ask you?
I don't know.
My mind's going 50. I told my cousin today that I used to be good at doing 18 things at one time, but the older I get, the less good I am at that. Because he thought that something was wrong. He thought I was upset or down in the dumps, and it just that I had about 18 things going on in my mind at one time. And